Welcome to the Ask Junior Daily Judgment podcast. I'm Priya Sharma, and joining me today is Arjun Gupta.
Hello, everyone. We're excited to dive into today's important judgment. But before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our podcast if you enjoy our daily legal breakdowns.
That's right, your support helps us reach more listeners and continue providing in-depth analysis of the latest court decisions. Now, let's get started with today's case. It's Saba Simran versus Union of India and others, a case decided by the High Court of Delhi. The case revolves around the Customs Act and the rules governing baggage, specifically the question of what constitutes personal effects and whether gold jewelry falls under that category.
This sounds fascinating. It's a common situation, travelers bringing back jewelry from overseas trips, and often there's confusion about the rules. So let's get into the details. What exactly happened with Saba Simran?
Saba Simran, an actress, traveled to Dubai for a film shoot and returned to Delhi. On arrival, she opted for the Green Channel, which is usually for passengers with nothing to declare. But a customs officer intercepted her, found gold bangles and beads in her possession, and detained them. This led to an order of confiscation and a penalty being imposed on Miss Simran.
So the crux of the matter is, was this jewelry considered personal effects, allowed duty-free, or did it fall under import with duty and restrictions applying?
Precisely. The High Court went back to the baggage rules, tracing their evolution from 1998 to the current 2016 rules. The court analyzed various definitions and amendments related to personal effects over the years. What is intriguing is that the customs authorities themselves acknowledged in a 1998 circular that personal jewelry should be considered personal effects. However, this distinction seems to have been lost in the 2016 rules, which explicitly excluded jewelry from the definition of personal effects.
That's a critical point. So the court had to reconcile this apparent contradiction between the 1998 circular and the 2016 rules. What was the court's reasoning?
The court took a very nuanced approach. It recognized that jewelry in the 2016 rules shouldn't be interpreted as an absolute prohibition on all jewelry. The court reasoned that jewelry in the 2016 rules should be understood as referring to jewelry newly acquired during the trip, not personal jewelry that was a pre-existing possession of the traveler.
That's an important distinction. So, personal jewelry that the traveler already owned and brought back with them would still be considered personal effects and not subject to duty or restrictions.
Absolutely. The court essentially affirmed the 1998 circular by stating that the intent of the baggage rules was not to restrict the import of personal jewelry that was already owned. It was about regulating the import of newly acquired jewelry.
This decision clarifies the application of the baggage rules, making it clearer for travelers bringing back their personal jewelry. The court's decision is particularly relevant in light of the common misconception that any gold jewelry, regardless of ownership, is automatically subject to restrictions.
Absolutely. The court also emphasized the importance of clear and unambiguous rules for travelers. The court cited previous cases where the lack of clarity in the rules had led to arbitrary actions against travelers, and it cautioned against such ambiguity in the future.
This judgment is a significant victory for travelers. It strengthens the rights of individuals to bring back their personal belongings without facing unnecessary scrutiny or penalties.
Indeed. It serves as a strong reminder that the Customs Act and the baggage rules should be interpreted fairly and reasonably, taking into account the context of the traveler's possessions and the purpose for which they were brought back.
This case will surely have a significant impact on how the customs authorities approach the examination of baggage and the treatment of travelers bringing back gold jewelry.
Absolutely. It's a clear win for Saba Simran and a valuable precedent for future travelers.
And that wraps up our analysis of today's judgment. We hope you found our discussion informative and engaging.
Before we sign off, we'd like to remind our listeners once again to like, subscribe, and share our podcast. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue bringing you daily updates on the most important legal decisions.
Absolutely. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow for another exciting episode. Until then, this is Arjun Gupta.
Priya Sharma and signing off. Thanks for listening to the Ask Junior Daily Judgment podcast.